Hey everyone, Jake from Whole Life Health here. Today we're talking about sleep. This is a big deal. Only about 1 in 5 people in the UK are currently getting enough sleep, and I imagine lots more aren't getting great quality sleep. So let's dive in. If we're not getting enough sleep, we're putting ourselves at an increased risk of Alzheimer's, dementia, and all sorts of other accelerated cognitive decline. We're also putting ourselves at risk of diabetes, insulin resistance, low testosterone levels, food cravings, fat gain, premature aging, poor immune function, impaired stress resilience, lower level of antioxidants, and impaired athletic performance. And of course, you just feel pretty lousy if you're not sleeping very well. So what do we do about it? Here's my top 10. Number 1, prioritize your sleep. You have a circadian rhythm. That means that your body is in tune with what the world is doing. When the sun comes up, in theory, you should be waking up. When the sun goes down, in theory, you should be lying down. You'll notice that nature does that. We should be doing it too. And we need to work out the rest of our days to honour our sleep-wake cycle. So when the sun's gone down, or a couple of hours after the sun's gone down, depending on where you live, you know you need to be hitting the hay. For most people, this is at least a couple of hours before midnight. So make sure you've got everything else wrapped up to get to bed on time. And if you haven't, shelve it and come back to it the next day. You're going to be way more productive that way. Don't allow work, play, or other factors to creep into your work pattern. It's going to undermine your health, and it's going to undermine the work and the play and the other things that you've got to attend to anyway. It's a completely false economy. In prioritizing your sleep, you're actually prioritizing your work. You're prioritizing your play, you're prioritizing your family, and if your boss disagrees with you and has got you up late at night working, just send them my way. I'd love to have a conversation with them. This is a huge one for our kids. Often kids think that staying up late is a treat. They feel like they might miss out on something if they're not staying up late. And often as parents, we will indulge them with this. My advice is don't. Find other ways of treating your kids and keep them in a regular routine of getting up and going to sleep. Also, don't indulge the massive lie-ins at the weekend. You shouldn't be doing it. The kids shouldn't be doing it. Set them up really well so that they're not having to undo some of the stuff that you're potentially having to undo now. Secondly, limit inflammatory foods. Now, this isn't something you're likely to see on many lists of getting good sleep, but for me, this has been an absolute game changer. When I cut out grains and sugar, refined sugars that aren't naturally found in foods, and also getting rid of inflammatory oils like refined seed oils and nut oils, vegetable oils, my sleep improved exponentially within 1 week. Now, I used to wake up a lot in the night to go to the loo, and I thought that was normal. When I got married to Freya, she was like, hang on a minute, 3 times peeing in the night? Not normal. I cut out grains, I cut out the inflammatory oils, cut out sugar, and the peeing stopped. And that's because I wasn't taking on as much water. My body wasn't pumped full of inflammation. It wasn't pumped full of fluids. So that helped me drain my body more naturally. I wasn't needing to do that in the night. But also, I wasn't hot and sweaty, and I didn't have sweaty, horrible extremities through the night, which I think probably Freya was glad of as well as me being glad of. So if you're struggling to sleep, or even if you're not, I highly recommend switching to a low inflammation diet. Cut the grains, cut the sugars, cut the inflammatory oils, and anything else that you know that aggravates you. And for some people, this will be milk and dairy products. For other people, this will be legumes, or you may have something that's really niche. Get that out of your diet. It's going to help you sleep better. Number 3, create a sleep sanctuary. We've evolved to expect a nighttime environment that's cool, quiet, and dark. So give your body what it wants and make your bedroom cool, quiet, and dark. Blackout blinds or blackout curtains, make sure there's no light seeping through the edge. Gadgets emitting LED light, get them out your bedroom, or better still, just don't have gadgets in your bedroom at all, especially phones and screens. They are a big no-no. First of all, there's the over-the-top psychological arousal that those things have in your face. They cause you to think way too much, and they're getting your cortisol levels up, getting you stressed as you go into bed. And then there's the blue light, which actually raises your stress hormone and shuts down sleep hormone more than direct sunlight. Go figure on that one. If you do need to get something done on a screen after dark and you're not in your bedroom because devices aren't going to be in there, then think about limiting the amount of blue light by using an app like Flux, which changes everything slightly warmer in the evening. And some phones will do this automatically if you choose that in the settings. In our house, we have warm light bulbs that are about 1.5 watts, so they're a nice warm glow, which makes you feel like you're around a fire for the evening. And also, it's good for the planet because they're not using that much energy. You know where I'm going with kids here, right? Screens in bedrooms, massive no-no. There are all sorts of reasons to be getting them off a screen as much as possible, which I've gone into detail elsewhere about. But certainly in the evenings, once the sun's gone down, get them off the screen. Play a board game, do some physical activity, have some quality family time that's not around a screen. We found that knocking off the heating a couple of hours before bed is also really helpful. Keeps the nighttime environment nice and cool, but also starts your body getting to wind down in that way. And also this is getting your kids set up to wind down for that as well. So a lot of us, we reach adulthood expecting to get warm and cozy at night. And actually that's been set up for us when we're kids because we think, oh, we need to wrap our kids up, make sure they're safe and cozy and everything's lovely. And then we have to undo that as an adult. Remember, we're going for a cool climate in the evening. All right, number 4 is coffee and caffeine more generally. Coffee really has become the crutch of modern society. I love coffee. It's great. I love the bitterness, the strange complexity of flavors, the smokiness that you get in coffee, and I have absolutely no issues with coffee. However, I do think it needs to be limited to a certain time of the day. Now, people respond in different ways to coffee. Some people have a real big response to caffeine. Other people don't respond as much to caffeine. But the reality is, even if you think you're a non-responder, you are still responding to caffeine. And that means it needs limiting before bedtime. It is going to interfere with sleep. It's going to allow your melatonin, your sleep hormone, to be lower, and it's going to interfere, keep you awake, keep you thinking, and just keep your arousal that much higher. So we're limiting it. For me, after midday, you're going to have to play around and see what that is for you in terms of how much it's going to interfere with your sleep. But also, I think we need to be limiting it first thing in the morning. As we wake up, our cortisol levels, our stress hormones, should be rising. And if we habitually start taking caffeine first thing in the morning, that actually interferes with our hormones there as well. So we end up shutting down our body's natural kind of, okay, let's wake up, get and go hormone, and replacing it with caffeine. As we do that, our body starts to get dysregulated in its hormone sleep-wake cycle throughout the day. So really what we want to do is avoid it at the end of the day and potentially right back through till midday, but also don't rely on it as a crutch. If you need it, don't have it. Allow your cortisol to catch up, allow your hormones to mend, allow your sleep-wake cycle to regulate, and then stick it in at a place where you don't feel you need it, but you're going to enjoy it. So mid-morning is a great time for coffee and caffeine. Number 5, exercise. We know that our genes are expecting a certain amount of inputs, and one of those is exercise. That's going to feed in to our sleep. We need to rest and recover from the day that we've had. Now, our ancestors, they would have been hunting, gathering, they would have been on the go all day. Typically, we're a lot more sedentary than they are. So we need to be replicating some of what they did. Most of that just needs to be everyday movement, not sitting still for too long. But of course, some activity, some play, and some weight training is going to be really helpful in there as well. So this is a great one you can do with the kids, is you can go and throw a frisbee around with them. They get a bit tired out, you get a bit tired out, setting yourself up for a good night's sleep. Of course, lifting heavy things a couple of times a week, the odd sprint or a couple of hikes together as a family is a great activity to prime you for a great night's sleep. There's plenty of research out there showing that exercise is linked to sleep, so go and do that, and obviously it's got loads of other benefits as well. So at night time, our body is expecting cool and dark, so in the daytime it's expecting sunlight and heat. So my number 6 is get outside, get bright light, get out into the heat. Your body's expecting to have sunlight hitting it on your skin, taken in through your eyes. And again, this is about your hormonal regulation. Your body goes, oh, it's around midday now because it's blazing hot and it's really sunny. Now, there are loads of benefits to this with vitamin D as well, and a whole host of other hormonal benefits. But just in terms of your sleep-wake cycle, my recommendation is that you get outside first thing in the morning, expose yourself to light, and that way, by the time you've had 12 to 16 hours in the light, your body's going to start winding down and going, okay, it's time to sleep again now because I had light that long ago. But also, get some midday sunlight. That's really helpful because it's hottest then and it's brightest then. Number 7, get grounded. Grounding or earthing, literally getting your bare skin on the bare earth. It may sound like the pastime of hippies, and it probably was, but they were probably onto something. There's an impressive growth of research being done on how good grounding is for you, demonstrating great positive effects. And one of the positive effects is improved sleep, both the length of sleep and the ease of obtaining sleep, as well as progressing through the different stages of sleep really well. So grounding's actually become a really popular thing for a lot of my clients. They enjoy doing it as part of a morning routine, going out barefoot on the earth first thing. They're getting their sunlight as well, like I just talked about. And there are also other ways you can do this. You can literally be grounded while you sleep. My mother-in-law has benefited massively from having a grounding sheet. So it's a sheet with a little bit of wire running through it, and that gets plugged into the earth connection of your house's electrical system, which then takes you literally to the earth. You are connected back to the bare earth again, and that's massively revolutionized her sleep, and loads of people are finding this too. You can find them online. They're pretty inexpensive, and for the potential benefits, they're a really good investment. So I highly recommend getting outside, getting your bare feet on the earth, but I also recommend checking out a grounding sheet as well. Number 8, having a morning routine. Now, I talked about clients going outside barefoot first thing in the morning, and that's great, but having a morning routine of any sort is beneficial. And it's a morning routine that's about you. It's kind of taking the things that you need to do for yourself first. So rather than responding to the craziness of the day, what's going on with the kids or the dog barking, wanting my attention, instead of responding to those things, and actually having more of a reaction to them, you're going to respond in a more intentional way. So you get up and you define the routine, you define the way that your day is going to go. And because you've had that morning routine, because you've responded intentionally rather than having a reaction to what's going on around you, that sets the tone for the rest of the day. So as the craziness kicks in, as the stuff with the kids and your partner and work starts to happen, you're set up to be the one who is in control and the one who is taking action rather than the one who's been acted upon. Now, this creates a low stress day, which then feeds in to a low stress night. And a low stress night is a good night. So you started the day well, you're going to end the day well with number 9, a bedtime routine. Now, our body gets used to certain signals and it starts to make associations between that signal and something else about to happen. So it may be that you have a cup of chamomile tea every day before you go to bed. When you have the chamomile tea, your body then thinks, it must be nearly bedtime. Maybe you get a massage from your partner or give your partner a massage. Maybe that it's something to do with your kids' bedtime routine, where once you've put the kids to bed, you know that your body is starting to ease itself down into bed. This is also great for your kids to have a bedtime routine. Find something that's really fun, something that hits their love language. That's one of the most successful things. So if you know that physical touch is a love language, make it something sensory where you're with them together, cuddling them. If you know it's quality time, then spend time reading a book together. Use your imagination. What is it that's going to hit your kids' love language that's also part of routine? And then do the same for yourself. Number 10, alcohol. People look at me strangely when I drink wine in the middle of the day. But the reason I might be drinking wine in the middle of the day is so I'm not drinking it as late in the day. Now, I don't drink that often. Alcohol ultimately doesn't have very much benefit at all for us in terms of our health, so you could just ditch it altogether. But if, like me, you enjoy the flavour and you find it to be a good social activity, then try and keep it away from bedtime. Move it to earlier in the day. Midday would be much better so that it doesn't interfere with your sleep. Applying these top 10 tips to my life has really revolutionised my sleep, and I think it's really going to revolutionise yours as well. If you'd like some help on applying these or integrating them into healthy nutrition and regular movement and other things that make up whole life health, then give me a shout. Click one of the buttons on the social media you're watching this on, or head to wholelifehealth.uk. See you soon.